Shabbat Shalom, Israel, giving our praise to the Most High God and the Son Yahushua. We're the Battle Axes of the Most High. I'm Soldier Razatat, Soldier Dawood right here. Hey, hope y'all had a good, productive week. Coming back to y'all on a First Works Friday, man. But like I said, hope y'all had a good, productive week. I know the settings are a little different. It's a Dawood crib, but I know y'all. I know if some of y'all been talking to Brother Donovan or Soldier Donovan, he lost his uncle last week. So, continue to keep that brother in your prayers, because that's where he at right now, just taking care of the situation as far as with his uncle and, getting the little things together. But nevertheless, that brother, he gonna continue to endure this thing, man, because even with me earlier this week, well, really like 2 weeks ago, but I found out yesterday that one of my step cousins had passed away too, Hey, the Lord, he ain't playing, man. But again, like I said, hope y'all been having a good week. It kind of flew by. I know we had a good dedication for brothers and sisters that, came down and, that showed their face. It was a good dedication. Flew by, but hey, the Lord said we're here for a good time, not a long time, man. Now that's just until when we get into the kingdom, that I'll be forever, man. But tonight's title is "You Can't Escape the Great and Terrible God." You can't escape the great and terrible God, because I don't know if y'all seen it yet, but even the thing that happened in New Orleans, that I guess you call it that terrorist attack or whatever you want to call it. But ultimately, we know that was the Lord's, doing. Hey, the Lord don't be playing, man, because they started off their so-called New Year's, and the Lord, hey, he started that thing off with a bang, man. Hey, what they say, like 14 dead, and then like about 20 to 30 injured. And it's a whole lot of graphic videos about that situation that had happened, man. But even with that New Year's thing, because that's how we're gonna kick it off. Exodus chapter 12 and verse 1. Because if anybody try to argue up and down that it's the New Year's, the easiest way to break this thing down is going to Exodus 12 and 1 first. This is the book of Exodus chapter 12 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. I'm going to read that again. This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. So the Lord's letting you know off the bat that this month right here, we're going to get in Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 1. This is going to be the first of my first months, man. So, anytime they try to, say otherwise, we know the scriptures back up all these things to let you know that that's not true. Go ahead and get Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 1. Because it's going to show you even the name of what the first month is called. And then if y'all familiar with, Exodus chapter 12 is going into like Passover. So we know if that's the beginning of months, and that's like one of our first high holy days that we kept, and hey, we just got to make logical sense out of it. But go ahead. Abib, yeah.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16, verse 1. Observe the month of Abib.
Read that again.
Observe the month of Abib.
So the Lord said, observe the month of Abib. Read on.
And keep the Passover.
And do what?
And keep the Passover.
So saying the same thing that Exodus chapter 12 and verse 1 is saying. Keep the Passover. But go ahead.
Unto the Lord thy God.
Unto who?
Unto the Lord thy God.
No, unto the Lord Sebo.
Unto the Lord thy God.
So it says unto the Lord thy God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. But even when you look up the word Abib on Google, since people, they be like, man, that was man written. Well, like a lot of our people believe in Google. So look up the definition of Abib. Well, I can look it up on mine. Because when you look these things up, it just coincides with the Bible all any time of the day, man. Any time of the year.
It say The definition of Abib, a Hebrew word that refers to the first month of the ancient Hebrew calendar.
The what?
Of the ancient Hebrew calendar.
It's another one on there that
which is also known as Nisan.
It's another definition as well. Let me find that. Let me see. There's no Esau, you know, they got AI doing the over review. And they tend to change it. No, not that one. You know, Esau tend to change things because yesterday when we was looking it up, it says the month of Bib is in between March and April. But, you know, every time the Lord, you know, tend to bring something out, then they want to, you know, go back on their word, man. But hey, we're going to let the Most High God be true and every man a lie. But let me see if I can find it real quick. No. Okay, this is the definition. It said today's Jewish or Jew calendar no longer uses the name Abib, using the name Nisan in its place, which has been in use since the time when the Jews were released from Babylonian captivity. See in Esther chapter 3 and verse 7. The month of Abib corresponds to our months of March and April. So that's how you just kill that real quick, man. And besides, even on a logical standpoint on like even how it's winter in these months that they say that it's the new year. And but then when you look at March and April, everything is springing back up, as far as the trees and the fruit, the vegetables, then even the animals coming out of hibernation, man. So that's how you know it's the new year. Even when Christ, our King was born, man, in the springtime. Because that's around tax season as well. But first precept we're gonna get going into this class is Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 7. Shabbat Shalom to you, brother Moses. Shabbat Shalom to Sister Deborah. Shabbat Shalom to Dr. J. Smithers. If I ain't mistaken, that's how you say it. What did you say? Crickets? Be ashamed, but let him on this bed. Like you said, glorify the Lord on his behalf. Because like how you just brought it out, 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 16, it says, yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf. So on that instance, like whenever it comes down to you saying that you serve the Most High God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or the God of Israel, and on that behalf, hey, do that thing, man. Don't be ashamed or confounded with it. Because even in Isaiah chapter 45, verse 17, it says we shouldn't be ashamed or confounded on that thing, man. Because we know what type of God we serve. Time and time again, the Lord always looked out for us. Even in this captivity. It's all hell breaking loose, but nevertheless, the Most High God is still looking out for us, especially us that's trying to seek after him. Because, things is getting worse and worse, but the Lord is speeding up that time faster and faster, man. But shalom, sister Genesis. Shalom, Freddie. Shalom, 2 Raw Twins. But go ahead, Dawood.
The book of Ephesians chapter 4 verse 7. But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ.
Read that one more time.
But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ.
So it says, but unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ. Then you know that everybody's grace is different. Because even going back to how we were talking about the New Orleans situation, a lot of them was in was teens or like 18, You had some that was like in their early 20s, man. Some played football, some was in college, some just graduated high school, man. And the Lord, he was like, hey, man, I'm finna go ahead and take them out. Oh, shalom, Knox, shalom. How you doing, Knox? Brother Hispanics. I figured that I know the name look familiar. What's going on, Knox? But yeah, like the Lord's grace with them, it ran out, man. Hey, now it's up to the Lord to, bring them back, the third or fourth generation, have the Most High God want that to go. But nevertheless, the Most High God said, hey, if y'all ain't trying to hear what I'm doing, because I'm pretty sure they, in some shape, form, or fashion, they heard about the truth. And the Lord just, hey, did away with them, man. Just like with, like I was saying with my cousin, or step cousin, she was the same age as me, 24. Hey, Lord, hey, went ahead and got her up out of here, man. And that's the things that we have to sit there and meditate on and be able to endure and have patience on. Because nevertheless, hey, you can't escape the wrath of the great and terrible God, man. But let's go ahead and go to the next precept. Let's go ahead and get Titus chapter 2 and verse 11. When you say Christians, which Christians are you saying? Let me jump up. You said, so you confirm you have zero glory if thou art not a Christian. But even when you look at the definition of the word Christian, the real definition of that just means a follower of Christ. But they took that word and made it into a religion. So yeah, will we be considered Christians? Yeah, because we are followers of Christ. What did Christ do? He kept the law, statutes, and commandments. Now, as far as going into that religion and all that, we don't have no parts of it, man. Because in that same Christianity doctrine or Christian doctrine, they say that Christ is a so-called white man. And we know that's far from the truth. We know that they say that you can eat shrimp, crab, and lobster and pork, but we know that's far from the truth. But it's, when it going into that cross, it's just going into like the burdens and the situation that we may go through as a nation of people. Because even Christ, whenever he hit this scene, he was going through a lot of turmoil with his people, man. His people and the Romans. So, he was dealing with it all. So, when it comes down to that, we got to be able to bear those things, man. For the preaching of the cross. Let's go ahead and get that then. We're going to come back to the class, y'all. I don't know, brothers just, scoffing or trying to make a point. But you know how that go. It says, for the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, but unto us which are saved, it is the power of God. So even with that cross and all these different types of situations, because it's a different way that you can look at it. Even with the cross, how people be wearing them, idolizing them and all these different type of things. The Lord is talking about those people gonna perish for that, man. So you got to understand that the word cross has even different definitions. In the context that you pulled in Luke chapter 9 verse 23, that's going into like the trials and tribulations and like things that we go through in this truth. As far as First Corinthians chapter 1 verse 18, that more so goes into that cross or that Jesus piece that they wear on a day-to-day basis. But let's go ahead and go back to the class. Let's get Titus chapter 2 and verse 11.
This is the book of Titus, chapter 2, verse 11. For the grace of God that bringeth salvation had appeared to all men.
Had what?
Had appeared to all men.
So it says, for the grace of God that bringeth salvation had appeared to all men. So we know, even with that all men, that's going into the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, because we were scattered to the four corners of the earth. Read on.
Teaching us.
Doing what?
Teaching us.
Doing what?
Teaching us.
So grace teaches us something. It's not just something, a word that you can throw around or something you can play with on a day-to-day basis. Read on.
That denying ungodliness.
They're doing what?
That denying ungodliness. In worldly lust.
And doing what?
In worldly lust.
Read on.
We shall live soberly.
We should what?
We shall live soberly.
So it says we should be denying ungodliness and worldly lust. So the things that pleases the flesh, and we shouldn't be having ourselves like entertained by that, man, because the Lord told us, hey, just keep the commandments and live. Keep it at that. But go ahead.
Righteously and godly. In this present world.
In this what?
In this present world.
And we gotta live like that because the Lord said, hey, if you're a friend of the world, that's you enmity with God, roughly paraphrasing, man. So we gotta always, keep ourselves grounded in these law, statutes, and commandments. But go ahead.
Verse 13. Looking for that blessed.
Doing what?
Looking for that blessed hope in the glorious appearance of the great God in our Savior Yahweh Mashiach.
Because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the glorious appearance of the great God and our Savior Yahweh, man. Because of course, the Most High God, He's gonna have His Son come down and redeem us out of the situations that we in. But go ahead.
Verse 14. Who gave Himself for us, that He might redeem us from all iniquity.
From what?
From all iniquity. And purify unto Himself a peculiar people.
A what?
A peculiar people. Jealous of good works.
Take your time.
I got you. I'm gonna read it over. Verse 14. Who gave Himself for us, that He might redeem us from all iniquity. And purify unto Himself a peculiar people. Jealous of good works.
Doing what?
Jealous of good works.
So it says we gonna be a peculiar people and zealous of good works, man. And like again, going back to even verse 12, all these things you gotta shake up off for us, because every last one of them that was out there in New Orleans, hey, that was trying to celebrate this so-called New Year, man. And the Lord, hey, He got busy with them, man. That's why even in Amos chapter 5 and verse 21, He says, I despise your feast days. Let me see what else. 1 second. So, brother, I'm gonna tell you, man, we gonna obey God rather than man, even with all these precepts that you pull. You don't have no type of understanding of those things. Because anytime it talks about all nations being saved or having some type of redemption, that's 9 times out of 10 going into Israel, man. So I mean, because you putting all these precepts, I could pull a plethora of precepts showing you that it's talking about the children of Israel, man. And then you said Matthew chapter 12, verse 34, O generations of vipers, how can you be evil speak good? Hey. Not necessarily, man. That's more so going into them Christian pastors, man. They generations of vipers. They the ones that's, seeking after our people's souls in the evil way. They the ones that really don't even care about them, man. They going after the money and going after the fortune and fame, man. Rocking our people right back to sleep, knowing that the things that's going on with our people is not right. So, that the Judea should be the following. The fake Hebrews dead. We could touch on, but I'm gonna get back to class. You, Dr. J. We're gonna touch on all those things, man, because I'm like, Even the brothers and sisters that's in the comment section right now, that's really like milk to them, man. That's child's play. They could put a plethora of precepts in there too, man. You know, combating the things that you're talking about with Gentiles and, you know, talking about all nations and et cetera, et cetera. Because even with the baptism, I'm like, how are you baptized, man? Because y'all tend to throw that word around a lot, but don't even know what the real definition of baptism is. Well, let's go ahead and go to the next precept. Let's get Romans chapter 6 and verse 1.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 6, verse 1. What shall we say then? What shall we say then?
Read on.
Shall we continue in sin? That grace may abound.
That what?
That grace may abound.
Read on.
God forbid.
Or what?
God forbid.
How
shall we live? How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein?
So it says, what shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? It says, God forbid, meaning hell no. How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? Jump down to verse 23.
Verse 23. For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Yahushua.
Read that again.
For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Yahushua, our Lord.
Because it says, for the wages of sin is death. Because even with you, you know, coming up on here and like, you know, scoffing or whatever the case may be, the same thing that applies to us, it applies to you too, man. You can't escape the great, terrible God, man. You try to come against his prophets, and the Lord, hey, he'll do away with you, man. You really just cut yourself up, man, with that Romans 9-13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So, like, what's your point on this? You sound like you ain't got no leg to stand on, man. And then even with going back to how you said, art thou baptized though? Oh, okay, stinky. But you do know it's not the water. It's not the water that baptizes a person, right? You dumb. You do know it's not the water, man, because even like how we always bring out, if you dip a homosexual in some water, what is he gonna come back as? A wet homosexual, man. If he ain't changing his mindset, as a matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Huh?
You can't say homosexual.
Who said that?
Yeah, Maggie for that.
Okay.
What you
want? Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 26. Let's get that real quick, man. Because I see that you was on Soldier E. Hood's class the other day.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 26. That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word.
By the what?
By the word.
By the what?
By the word.
No, the washing of water.
By the word.
It says by the word, brother. Yeah, the Lord got you in the delusion thinking that I'm getting butchered, but in reality, you making yourself a fool, man. But let's go ahead and go to Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 39. Because if you don't agree with what I'm saying, why are you even on here, man?
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 39.
You there? Yeah.
See now that I am he, and there is no God with me. I kill.
I do what?
I kill. And I make alive.
So with that grace, the Lord said, hey, if you keep playing with it, I kill. At the same time, hey, if I want to bring you to this truth or make you alive in that aspect, I make it live. But go ahead.
I wound.
I do what?
I wound.
Hey, 20 to 30 people wounded, man, going into that New Orleans thing. But go ahead.
And I heal.
And I what?
And I heal.
And those people can't be healed if they come, you know, as far as the Israelites, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But go ahead.
Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand.
Read that again.
Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand.
So nobody can just, you know, escape the Lord, man. Everybody gotta face him in some shape, form, or fashion, man. That's why I said every knee is gonna bow and every tongue is gonna confess that he's Lord, man. Hey, even with the scoffer in here, man, he gonna have to bow down to the Lord too. And at the end time, man. Cause you think it's some type of white man that's gonna come and crack the sky, man, and passing out dandelions and candy canes. But in reality, hey, it's gonna be an angry black man. And he might just roll off with your head, man. But let's go ahead and get Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 15.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 28, verse 15. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death.
We did what?
We have made a covenant with death.
What that brother do?
We have made a covenant with death.
So it says, we have made a covenant with death. So I'm gonna let that simmer in your spirit, man. You made a covenant with death, man. So if you are our people, man, I just pray that you repent, man. Because what you doing, hey, you shouldn't be doing it, man. Because even like how the account that we're gonna touch on later on, children got put to death for just scoffing against a prophet, man. But go ahead.
And with hell are we at agreement? When the overflowing scourge shall pass,
when the scourge
shall pass through it, shall not come unto us.
Shall what?
Shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge.
Yeah, I did what?
For we have made lies our refuge.
Because even jumping back up, it says, because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. Because even the conditions that our people are in on a day-to-day basis, not having a pot to piss in, working these 9 to 5s, at the bottom of society, black on black crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime, etc., man. These are conditions that our people are okay with, man. They don't think it's nothing else for them. Our people don't have no type of hope, man. But that's why we go out to the highways and the byways to let them know that, hey, you do have a chance of hope, man. Like we go out to the widows, we go out to the brokenhearted, the wounded, and all them, man. We let them know that, hey, you got to go back to your God, man. That's the only scenario or conclusion of the whole matter, man. Is to come back to your God and start keeping these commandments. But go ahead.
And under falsehood have we hid ourselves.
Have we did what?
Had we hid ourselves.
It says, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Because even it says, when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge. And that's what our people done did, man. They done made a whole lot of lies, just like with this brother right here. Made lies his refuge, man. And then you wonder why you stuck in the mindset that you stuck in, man. Trying to come on here with this Christianity doctrine, but hey, that thing don't have a leg to stand on. Even if you go into Islam or being a Muslim, ain't got a leg to stand on. Because every last one of those religions try to take from the Israelite or try to take from this Bible of ours, man. Take from our heritage. But y'all say that y'all got the original and then this is the only way. Christianity was the way. Hey, Christ would have been came back, man. But go ahead.
Verse 16. Therefore, thus said the Lord God, behold, I lay in Zion.
I do what?
Behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation.
For a what?
For a foundation.
It says, therefore, thus said the Lord God, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation. Read on.
A stone.
A what?
A stone.
Read on.
A tried stone.
So it says a stone, a tried stone. Because we know Christ was tried, man, when he walked on this earth, man. We know he was tried by every avenue that you could name. He was trying to be he was finna be tempted Satan on the aspect. Satan talking about, hey, I'll give you all of this, if you just bow down to me, man. And Christ is like, nigga, I own all this. I even own you. Trying to, bring forth some type of trickery on the king, man. When he's the master teacher, man. When he's that stone, that cornerstone, that sturdy foundation, man. Because that's the only way that you would just necessarily be able to, be on the good playing field or on a good avenue as if you come back to your God, man. Yeah, you can get it in a minute. Because otherwise, hey, on the aspect of him being terrible, you can't escape that thing, man. You can't. Because even like how in Deuteronomy chapter 28, it says that all these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee, or all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee, man. So hey, the Lord gonna give you either one, man, depending on what your works was like, or whatever you sowed in. Let me see what the dude's talking about. Yeah, Dr. J, you cutting yourself, or even with that 2 Peter chapter 4 and verse 3. It says, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, itchy and scratchy. He said itchy and scratchy show. Yeah, that's exactly what you got, man. Because you over here trying to find some type of loophole and scratch your way through this, try to see if you can scratch your way through this doctrine, man. But this doctrine is soundproof, man. Crazy, man.
This 2 Timothy 4 and 3.
Yeah, 2 Timothy 4 and 3. But go ahead and get the precept.
This the book of 1 Peter, chapter 2, verse 5. Ye also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house.
Or what?
Are built up a spiritual house.
Because that spiritual house is going into your own self, man. You got to make sure that your spiritual house is in order, man. That's why, like, even in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, it says, we have presented our bodies a living sacrifice unto the Lord, man. Because back then we was doing it, the sacrificing and going into the temple and all that. But now our body is the temple, man. But go ahead.
In holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifice.
To do what?
To offer up spiritual sacrifice.
Because even on the aspect of Christ did it. So what makes you think you ain't got to do it, man? It's just something that we really just got to think on, man. But go ahead.
Acceptable to God.
Doing what?
Acceptable to God.
So it got to be acceptable unto God. Because, hey, like we said, even Soldier Donovan said last week, ask Abel and ask Cain. Abel's offer to the Lord was accepted. But then when it came down to Cain, it wasn't accepted, man. And I know it's in the precept that he read it, but go ahead.
By Yahushua. Wherefore also it is contained in the scripture. Behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone.
A what?
A chief cornerstone.
Read on.
Elect. Precious. And he that believeth on him shall not be confounded.
Shall what?
Shall not be confounded.
Read that again.
Shall not be confounded.
So, hey, you with this brother on here, man. You can't confound us, man. You can't. That's why he done probably left out the damn group chat. All praise to the Most High God, man. Because he trying to be a mark for him for, man, taking a word away, man. But hey, this word is gonna get out, whether he like it or not, man. Well, let's go ahead and go to the next. What you some more? Go ahead.
Unto you, therefore, which believe, he is precious.
He is what?
He is precious.
Read on.
But unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builder disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner.
The what?
The head of the corner.
Read on.
In a stone of stumbling, in a rock of offense.
In a what?
In a rock of offense. Even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient.
Being what?
Being disobedient.
Because, hey, that chief cornerstone, it could be, a foundation, a defense, a high tower, and so on and so forth. But on the flip side, that same chief stone can knock you out your socks, man. It come crashing down on you, man. We done seen the movies, and we done seen like actual real instances where these or these rocks, man, will kill a person, man. Matter of fact, I had seen on Instagram yesterday. Damn Arab was getting stoned by his people, man, because he did something. And when I tell you them rocks sounded like an avalanche, man, hey, that's the same way Christ will be with our people that's not trying to hear his word, man, but trying to hear him out. Yeah. Let you tell it, Dr. J. He came back, y'all. But go ahead.
Whereunto also they were appointed. But ye are a chosen generation.
But ye are what?
But ye are a chosen generation.
Read on.
A royal priesthood.
Hey, what?
A royal priesthood.
That's all I want on that. Let's go ahead and go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 17. Matter of fact, and we get that later. We're going to 2 minutes. Let's go back to that Isaiah 28 and 15 again. Verse 16.
Isaiah 28 and 16?
Yeah.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 28, verse 16. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, God, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. Judgment also will I lay to the line.
Read that again.
Judgment also will I lay to the line.
So that tried stone, that cornerstone, that precious stone, that sturdy, sure foundation, it says judgment also will I lay to the line. Go ahead.
In righteousness to the plummet, in the hell shall sweep away the ridge of lies. Refuge of lies. In the water shall overflow the hiding place.
The what?
The hiding place.
So hey, when it comes down to it, the Lord, he gonna wipe all these lies out, man. Because hey, you can't do nothing against the truth but for the truth, man. Roughly paraphrasing, man. But jump down or read verse 18.
Verse 18. In your covenant with death shall be disannulled. In your agreement with hell shall not stand.
Shall what?
Shall not stand.
So these things will not have a leg to stand on, man. But go ahead.
When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then ye shall be trodden down by it.
By what?
Be trodden down by it.
You know.
From the time that it goes forth, it shall take you. For morning by morning shall it pass over, by day and by night. And it shall be a vexation only to understand the report.
All praise. What are you talking about? Yep, found you. Yep, that's what we did. A lot of times. Yep, tell me about yourself. But let's go ahead and go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 17.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 17. Be not overmuch wicked, neither be thou foolish.
Read that again for the brother.
Be not overmuch wicked, neither be thou foolish.
So it says, be not over much wicked, neither be thou foolish. Because you be in both those things, Dr. J. It says, read on.
Why shouldest thou die before thy tongue?
Why what?
Why shouldest thou die before thy tongue?
Because right now, brother don't even understand that spiritually he's dead, man. I mean, you just a walking dead, man. That's why they had these TV shows and movies out like that, man. But then also on the physical aspect, that's why you have, I know I keep going back to it, but hey, that's all that's been on my mind lately, because that's something that you really just got to meditate on, man. Because even like when you looked at the video, truck was just going down the street, and all of a sudden, boom, a quick right, man, and killed all them people, man. Well, hey, that's how the Lord operate, man. But let's go ahead.
Verse 18. It is good that thou shouldest take hold of this.
So it said, it is good that thou shouldest take hold of this. Like, be mindful of this thing, man. Really take heed of this thing. Comprehend this thing. But go ahead.
Yea, also from this withdraw not thy hand from he that feareth God. For he that feareth God shall come forth of them all.
Shall what?
Shall come forth of them all.
So if you take heed of this thing and you have that fear of the Lord upon you, hey, you shall come forth of all those things, man. Meaning you will overcome those things in that latter time, man. The Lord, he'll give you like a longer life if that's what he wants. Unless you know you die in his name, of course. That's something totally different because we know the dead of Christ gonna rise first, man. But let's go ahead and get Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 12. No, I'm just looking at it, see what he's talking about. What you talking about? Yeah. And I see you keep on talking about Frank Cherry, man. Do you know about Yahushua? Shit, Frank Cherry ain't got nothing on Yahushua, man. You talking about he was a 33rd degree Mason and all this, knowing that that's a damn white man's religion or a white man's code. But you talk about that you can come and destroy this doctrine, man. See, you all over the place because we got a plethora of precepts that even cuss that doctrine and talking about that Jesus is God and all this, man. That's all Christianity, man. Because basically you trying to call Christ or the Most High God a schizophrenic. Because he says, hey, Christ sits on the right hand of God. Because matter of fact, and you can stay in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Yeah, you matter of fact, go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 3 and tell me what that says, man. Yeah, man. But let's go ahead and go to Isaiah chapter 30, verse 12.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 12. Wherefore, thus said the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word, and trust in oppression, and perverseness, and stay thereon. Therefore, this iniquity shall be to you as a breach, ready to fall.
Ready to what?
Ready to fall.
It says, therefore, this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall. And I know y'all probably seen like a breach actually falling, or even with the movies, when a breach is about to get ready to fall, it's just basically just collapsing, man. And, you know, being not, man, going back to the earth. But go ahead.
Swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant.
So just like how with the wall of Jericho, man, when they marched around in mud the 7 times, then that mud just collapsed, man. That's the same way on the spiritual aspect with us, man. If we despise the Lord and trust in oppression and perverseness. But go ahead.
and he shall break it as the breaking of the potter's vessel.
Potter's vessel.
Potter's vessel. That is broken in pieces. He shall not spare.
He shall what?
He shall not spare.
So we know that that even with the analogy of the potter and the clay, we know the potter, we know that's the Most High God. We know the clay is us. So at any given time, hey, if you want to, go ahead and break into pieces, he'll do that, man. But go ahead. Go ahead.
So that there shall not be found in the bursting of it, and sheared, to take fire from the hearing, or to take water without out of the pit.
That's it. Let me get Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 1. What is he talking about? Because tell me what Psalms 110 and 1 says, man. Like these are little basic precepts on that matter that you're talking about, Christ and him being the same.
This.
Hold on, one shit. No. You go ahead and read it.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 1. Now therefore, hearken, O Israel.
Do what?
Hearken, O Israel.
So it says, hearken, O Israel. Read on.
Unto the statute.
Unto the who?
Unto the statute. And unto the judgments, which I teach you, for to do them, that ye may live.
That ye may what?
That ye may live.
Because that's the whole point of the matter, man. That we want to, try to live, man. That's all we basically is trying to do, man. Keep these commandments and observe the judgments that the Lord may have, and observe the goodness of them and the bad of them, man. Because we got to accept the greatness of the Lord and the terribleness of the Lord, man. Because that's just who He is. But let's go ahead and keep reading. Well, matter of fact, we're gonna come back to that. Let's get 2 Ezra chapter 5 and verse 42. Matter of fact, before you go there, get that Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 4.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 30, verse 4.
Hey, so I want you to explain this, Dr. J. Go ahead.
Who had ascended up into heaven, or descended.
So who had to ascend into heaven and descended? We know that ain't the Most High God, because He ain't finna get off His throne unless He really just want to. But go ahead.
Who had gathered the wind in His fist.
So, the Lord spoke this thing, and then His Son performed it. But go ahead.
Who had bound the waters in a garment.
Read on.
Who had established all the ends of the earth.
Read on.
What is His name?
What is what?
What is His name?
Read on.
And what is His Son's name? If thou canst tell.
So you got to deal with that. It says, what is His name and what is His Son's name? If thou canst tell. If you can't tell, just put your hand over your mouth, man. Keep thy foot, as Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 1. Because you really just got to, deal with it. Because all these precepts, you trying to, justify that, Christ and the Most High God is the same people. When it says they are one, that just means they're on one accord, man. Whatever the Most High God speaks, His Son is 100% with it, man. He ain't never finna go against the grain. Yeah, because even with what Genesis chapter 1 and verse 27, it says, so God created a man in His own image. In the image of God, male and female created He them. Created man in His own image. Yeah, we understand that. But that's not what they're saying. Yeah, Christ is a God, but He's not the Most High God, man. Because even in Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 8, the Most High God calls his son a God. Just like how in Psalms 82 and verse 1 or verse 6, he says we are gods, but we're going to die like men. So, I mean, what's your point? There's no private interpretation there, because I guarantee you, everybody in this comment section that's looking at class or tuning in, they understand what I'm saying. You the only one that has a problem with it. You the only one that's scoffing against something that you really ain't. I mean, if you have an ill will towards, you shouldn't even be in the comment section no way. Yeah, he bugged out Captain J Bob. He everywhere, ain't he? But let's go ahead and go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 5 and verse 42. That's my elder right there, Captain J Ball, the one that just commented, the one that called you bugged out. 5 and 42, 2nd Ezra.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 5, verse 42. And he said unto me, I would liken my judgment unto a ring.
Read that again.
I would liken my judgment unto a ring.
So, hey, basically how, even with that scenario, how it says, or like that wise saying, what goes around comes around. So, even with, like, going back to them, or like all the things that's been happening this, New Year, hey, they probably went against the prophets, or they went against the grain with the Most High God, and he went ahead and say, hey, my judgment is like a ring. So what goes around, you deny me, so I'm going to deny you, man, and take your life from me. But go ahead.
Like as there is no slackness of the last.
Like there's what?
Like as there is no slackness of the last.
Because, hey, the Lord ain't slack concerning these things, man. Just like he not slack concerning his promise. He ain't slack about his judgment, man. But go ahead.
Even so, there is no swiftness of the first.
Of the what?
Even so, there is no swiftness of the first.
So even like going into like the first time the Lord went over here and destroyed this world, man, or like destroyed different generations off, or destroyed different kings off. Hey, those same things that was happening then, the same things that's gonna happen now, man. This time it's gonna be a World War III, man. Fire, man. But let's go ahead and go to Amos chapter 5, verse 18. See, you ain't got nothing going. Go ahead.
Amos chapter 5, verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light.
And what?
And not light.
So we know this in context is going into like the last days, when Christ come back. And why it says, destruction unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. Because even now, the Lord is giving us little inklings of these things that's going on right now, man. It's just going to steady getting worse and worse, man. But go ahead.
Verse 19. As if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him.
And a what?
And a serpent bit him.
And you wonder where Final Destination got their ideas from, man. Got their mud straight from the Bible. It says, as if a man did flee from a lion. So he got away from the lion. Then it says a bear met him. The bear was on the other side of that door. Then it says, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. So, hey, he got away from the bear. But that serpent, hey, he got him, man. And it's mighty funny how time and time again, when we read out the scriptures or the precepts, it's always a damn serpent that's beguiling our people or killing our people in some shape, form, or fashion, man. But go ahead.
Verse 20. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light?
And what?
And not light. Even very dark and no brightness in it.
So meaning, hey, it's going to be a gloomy day, man. It's going to be a bloody, terrible, sad, hey, unbearable type of day, man. Like I said, we're going to see 1,000 at our left hand and 10,000 on our right, roughly paraphrasing. Like all these things is just going to happen, man, in a blink of an eye. Or like even like how it's happening now. But let's go ahead and go to 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 19. We're going to get like an account on these things, man. Two little accounts on it.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 2, verse 19. And the man of the city said unto Elisha, Behold, I pray thee, the situation of this city is pleasant as my Lord.
Read on.
See it, but the water is not, and the ground barren.
So this is Elisha. I say Elisha. You know, one of his first miracles that he did, because the men of the city, they were letting Elisha know that the water is not and the ground is barren, man. So that water, hey, it ain't doing no good, and the ground is just not bringing forth any type of fruit, man. But go ahead.
And he said, Bring me a new curse.
Do what?
Bring me a new curse. And put salt therein.
And do what?
And put salt therein.
Read on.
And they brought it to him. And he went forth unto the spring of the waters. And cast the salt in there. And said, Thus saith the Lord.
And did what?
And said, Thus saith the Lord.
So hey, we know Elisha, he the one who's like, performing this miracle, but hey, he wouldn't have been able to do it if it weren't for the Most High God, man. This is something that you can label as great that the Lord is doing for the men. But go ahead.
I have healed these waters. There shall not be from thence any more death or barren land.
Or what?
Or barren land.
So hey, it says, I remember what the Lord said in Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 39. He says, hey, I womb and I heal. In this aspect, he had healed those waters, man. And he says, thence there shall not be from thence any more death or barren land. But go ahead.
Verse 22. So the waters were healed unto this day, according to the saying of Elisha, which he spake. And he went up from thence unto Bethel. And as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city.
Out of the what?
Out of the city.
Read on.
And mocked him.
And did what?
And mocked him.
Hey, like how I was saying in the beginning of the class, man. Hey, them like I said, 18 on up to like 20 something, man. Probably one was probably a little older than me, or whatever the case may be. But those would be children, according to most people, man. But go ahead.
And said unto him, Go up.
Do what?
Go up, thou bald head. Go up, thou bald head.
It says, Go up, thou bald head. Go up, thou bald head. Because even with them celebrating that wicked New Year's, hey, that was mocking the Lord, man. But go ahead.
And he turned back and looked on them and cursed them in the name of the Lord.
So, hey, put a straight curse upon them, man. But go ahead.
And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Out of the wood. And tear 42 children of them. And he went from thence to Mount Campbell. Carmel Campbell. And from thence he returned to Samaria.
So hey, after them bears went ahead and tore them 40 children up, 2 bears versus 40 children. They ain't stand a chance, man. And that's the terrible side of the Lord, man. Because we're gonna get another account in a minute. But after all that had happened, hey, Elisha went on about his way and continued to go on his journey that the Lord told him to do, man. So he went on to Mount Carmel, and from thence he returned to Samaria, man. So hey, but let's go ahead and get Second Chronicles chapter 36 and verse 11.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 36, verse 11. Zedekiah was 120 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God.
What? He did what?
And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God.
So hey, and we know when we read the like Samuel, Kings, and Chronicles, we know it was more kings that did evil in the sight of the Lord than did good in the sight of the Lord, man. In this aspect, he did evil. Go ahead.
And humbled not himself.
And did what?
And humbled not himself.
And the Lord said he hated a prideful man. But go ahead.
Before Jeremiah, the prophet, speaking from the mouth of the Lord.
We know.
And he also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar. Who had made him swear by God. But he stiffened his neck, and hardened his heart from turning unto the Lord God of Israel.
So hey, Zedekiah, he was stiff-necked, and he turned his heart from the Lord, man. So what you think the Lord is gonna do about that, man? Go ahead.
Moreover, all the chief of the priests and the people transgressed it very much after all the abomination.
So it's basically a trickle-down effect. Hey, the king, transgressed against the Lord. And hey, the chief priests, they transgressed against the Lord. But go ahead.
All the abomination of the heathen, and polluted the house of the Lord.
So even like how we was reading in the Maccabees, man, how there was a sacrificing swine's flesh and unclean beasts. Hey, they were very much so doing these same things, man. It says transgress very much after all the abominations of the heathen. So they was doing that, plus all the other abominations that they do, not even pertaining to just eating, but just sinning, period. But go ahead.
Which he hallowed in Jerusalem. And the Lord God of their father sent to them by his messenger, rising up betimes, and sending, because he had compassion on his people.
So it says, and the Lord God of their father sent to them by his messengers, rising up betimes, and sending, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. So even though, the Most High God was pissed off about this thing, man, he still had some type of compassion on his people. He sent messengers, man, to see, hey, what y'all gonna do? Y'all continue to transgress against my law, or y'all gonna, get that thing right? Let's see what they did.
But they mocked the messenger of God.
But they did what?
But they mocked the messenger of God.
What Dr. J do?
Mock the messenger of God.
See, hey, just like how we go out on the streets, man, they do that same exact thing. They be laughing at us. They be mocking at us. Every time we look like Power Rangers, we have our garments on. They be saying we Bible thumpers and all these different type of things, man. But hey, I guess we'll be fools for Christ's sake at the end of the day, man. Because hey, we trying to, be in that kingdom, man, running some things, man. Of course, Yahweh shall be in the top, man. But go ahead.
And despised his words and misused his prophets unto the wrath of the Lord arose against his people till there was no remedy.
Till there what?
Till there was no remedy.
So hey, they pissed the Lord out to the point where he said, hey, until the wrath of the Lord arose against his people, till there was no remedy. So nobody could redeem us out of those situations, man. There was no type of remedy. Nobody could save us out of that thing, man. Unless the Lord just went ahead and, wanted to send, one of his mediators to come back and, try to get us right. But go ahead.
Therefore, he brought unto them the king of the Chaldeans.
The what?
The king of the Chaldeans.
So even like on my subtitles on it says the fall of Jerusalem. So, hey, first he says, therefore he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees. Go ahead.
Who slew their young men.
Who did what?
Who slew their young men.
So, hey, slew our young men. Go ahead.
With the sword in the house of their sanctuary. And had no compassion upon young men. Or maiden.
Or what?
Or maiden.
So, hey, these sound like the curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28, man. They regarded neither old nor young. Just because of our disobedience, man. Thinking that we can escape the Lord's, wrath for going against the grain. But it says, Shalaki, young and had no compassion upon a young man or maiden. Read on.
Old man. Or him that stooped for age.
That stooped for age.
That stooped for age. He gave them all into his hand.
So every last one of them, old, young, medium age, or oldest of the old, man. He gave them all into the hands of the king of the Chaldees, man. But go ahead.
In all the vessels of the house of God, great and small.
So, hey, great and small. That sounds just like how your pops or your mama be. Hey, which one of y'all broke this vase? Now, one of y'all want to say anything, then hey, every last one of y'all gonna get it, because I know I got the right one then. But go ahead.
In the treasures of the house of the Lord.
So not only did he started slaying the men, the maidens, old men, and young babies, and et cetera, but he also took the treasures that we had, man. So yeah, the treasures that we also obtained, was his Bible, man, our heritage, man. But go ahead.
And the treasures of the king and of his princes, all these he brought to Babylon.
He did what?
He brought to Babylon.
So hey, even our gold and our silver, and our armors, our girdles, our garments, precious garments, royal garments, all that, man. But go ahead.
And they burnt the house of God.
And they did what?
And they burnt the house of God.
So you see how terrible the Lord can be towards his people, man. Just like, hey, even in this time, man, whenever he decided send his son back, it's gonna be like that again, man. But the only difference is he'll have 1/3, he'll have that remnant, right there. Just like how he had back then, but it's gonna be official this time. Hey, that 1/3, that 144,000, 2/3, and the heathen that don't want to get down, man. But go ahead.
And break down the wall of Jerusalem.
And do what?
And break down the wall of Jerusalem. And burn all the palace thereof with fire. And destroy all the goodly vessels thereof. And them that had escaped from the sword.
Read on.
Carry he away to Babylon. Where they were servants to him and his sons, until the reign of the kingdom of Persia.
Until the what?
Until the reign of the kingdom of Persia.
Man, hey, that's really just captivity after captivity. It says they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia. So hey, even after that was the next captivity, man. But go ahead.
Verse 21. To fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths, for as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath to fulfill 60.
She did what?
She kept Sabbath to fulfill 60 in 10 years.
And what?
In 10 years.
So, hey, man, that's something you just gonna have to deal with on that one, man. That's tough. But let's go ahead and get Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7. Yep. So right after the Babylonian, that's some good history to really read up on, man. Because it shows you, like, after the Babylonian captivity, it said all the way up until the reign of the Persians, man. That was the next captivity, man. But let me get there first. 6, 7. Huh? 6, 7. Yeah. I have a couple more precepts, y'all. Beat up out of here. Go ahead.
The book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 7. Be not deceived. God is not mocked.
God is what?
God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
So it says, be not deceived. God is not mocked. Like our brother, trying to I don't know what he was doing, man. Like Captain J Boss said, you bugged out. He says, for whatsoever a man sow it, that shall he also reap, man. So whatever you putting in is truth, or whatever you know, if you know other truth, but you ain't in it, or if you're a Christian or in some type of religion or whatever the case may be, hey man. So let me see. He said Dr. J is that a real baby. But yeah, so whatever you sowing or reaping in this thing, hey, that's what you're gonna get up out of it, man. That's even like the equivalent of like, say if a candy bar, a Kit Kat bar, the vending machine is, $1.50, but you only got $1. Whatever you put in that vending machine, hey, that's what you'll get. In this instance, if you just put $1 in it, don't expect to get nothing, man. You probably can get like some bubble gum or like a thing of cookies or something like that, man. But hey, nevertheless, hey, you just gotta think on it, man. But last precept, let's get Luke chapter 16 and verse 13. Come on, yeah, Luke chapter 16 and verse 13.
The book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 13. No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon.
You can't what?
Ye cannot serve God and mammon.
So, hey, the Lord, well, this is Christ speaking right here. He says, no servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Shalaki. You cannot serve God and mammon. So, hey, whatever him liking him can get, man. In a nutshell, you just gotta pick that side, man. Just like how that Revelation chapter 3 verse 15, because that's a precept for it. Hey, whatever, hey, pick that side, man. Or you gonna choose the Satan, or you gonna choose the Lord, man. Or you choose to keep the commandments, or you gonna choose to continue to sin. Are you gonna choose these blessings, or you gonna choose these curses, man? So on and so forth. But with that, I say shalom. I know brother right here, Brody Blacks, said you need some understanding on Ezekiel chapter 1. Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse 4 through 10. All right. It's the book of Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse 4. So, like even at the top of my subtitle, it says a vision of living creatures. But like, to sum it up, shalom, love you too. But basically to sum it up, with Ezekiel chapter 1, it's just going into like the angels, on what the angels look like. All praises, brother Moses. But I'm gonna read it for you. It says, verse 4, and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. So we know that the clouds is just another way of like talking about the angels, because even when you go to Psalm chapter 104, verse 3, we'll get there for you. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 104, verse 3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds in his chariots, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. So that's just going into like, the chariots of the Lord, or like the angels of the Lord. But reading on, going back to Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse 5. Also out of the mist, because I want you to peep that, even when it says the color of amber, going back to verse 4 real quick. The color of amber is just a derivative of brown. So then you know that, hey, also the angels are, our skin color, or whatever the case may be. Because we know Christ is a dark-skinned man. You know, even the Most High God is a dark-skinned man. We know his people, you know, come from a dark all the way to a light. And you know, the angels, hey, they're the same color, man. But verse 5, also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. And this was the appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and every one had 4 faces, and every one had 4 wings. So, like, even like how it's describing how it had 4 faces and 4 wings. If you ever seen like those animes, cartoons and stuff, because this is where they get it from. Like, it'd be like some type of beast that has 4 faces and have the wings and stuff. Like, that's where they get it from. It's just giving you a depiction of what the angels look like. Verse 7, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the soles of a calf's foot. So one had a calf hoof. It says, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. We know, hey, we know what color burnished brass is. It's a, you know, dark skin color, man. Verse 8, and they had the hands of a man under their wings. So, you know, it had the wings, and then it says he had the hands, you know, like a man. It says on their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they turned. They went every one straight forward, meaning they was all on just one accord. So, hey, they had 4 different faces and 4 different feet, hands, and all these different type of things, but they all was in unison on wherever they wanted to go. Because I know we seen them cartoons where they be like, you have, okay, the cat dog for an example. I don't know if you remember that show, came out like in the early 90s. But you had the cat and the dog that was attached to each other. One was always trying to run from the other one. But see, with this angel, hey, they was all on one accord, walking whichever way they needed to walk, or wherever the Lord wanted them to, you know, go. But verse 9 again. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went. They went every one straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, they 4 had the face of a man and the face of a lion on the right side, and they 4 had the face of an ox on the left side. They 4 also had the face of an eagle. So, you know, it said it had a face of a man, a face of a lion, a face of an ox, and a face of an eagle, man. But that's all that's pretty much just going into kind out they black. Praise the Sister Mary. But yeah, that's all it is, man. But I'm finna go ahead and get up out of here in a minute, get y'all law. I hope the class was edifying, even though we had the you know, the scoff in there. You know, the word still got out, man. But at the end of every class, you know, we bring out a law. Tonight's law will be that Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 2. I know we always, you know, speak on the cash apps and the GoFundMe's, you know, for the alms. All those things are being greatly used, you know, for the building of a kingdom, you know, keep our lights on and keep the internet on, you know, keep food in the, you know, in the school, in the congregation, and so on and so forth, man. Not like how T.D. Jakes and them be doing, you know, buying private planes and buying Cadillacs and private boats and, you know, all these different type of acts that they be doing, man. Not doing it for like the right reasons. But the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 2. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. So even like how that brother was you know, trying to add unto the word of the Lord, man, that what Dr. J can't add nor take away from it, man. Whatever the Lord said, hey, that's just what that is, man. You just got to deal with it. Because it's some things that we may not have agreed when we first got into this truth. It's probably still things that we don't agree with now. But hey, at the end of the day, we're going to have to deal with that thing. We're going to have to agree with it if we want to make it to the kingdom, man. Got to put that pride and arrogant, that proudful and arrogant mindset away, man. Just like how you got You know, brothers and sisters thinking they got the whole truth, and you know, a plethora of things, man. Got to put that thing aside and let the Most High God be true in these things, man. But with that, see y'all tomorrow. Bye, shalom.